How did these 50,000 soldiers vanish? In the 6th century BCE, King Cambyses of the Persian Empire set out to conquer Egypt. He led a massive army of 50,000 soldiers and thousands of horses, camels, and other animals. But something went horribly wrong. As the army marched through the desert, they were faced with a series of devastating sandstorms, which caused them to lose their way. They soon found themselves stranded in the vast desert, with no water, food, or shelter. The remains of the Persian army's camp were later discovered by the Egyptians. The camp was deserted, with no sign of the soldiers or their animals. The remains of the camp showed signs of a frantic struggle for survival, with evidence of cannibalism. To this day, no one knows what happened to the lost army of Cambyses. Some theories suggest that they were swallowed up by the desert sands, while others propose that they were attacked and killed by the Egyptians. But no one knows for sure.
He's acting weird. I'm getting weird vibes.
Does anyone remember the Miami zombie from 2012? This is Rudy Eugene, and back in 2012, when he was going to Urban Beach Week in Miami, his car broke down. He stayed with his car for about 30 minutes and then started to cross a 3-mile stretch of road called the MacArthur Crossway. As he was walking, he began stripping off his clothing, he got rid of his license, he had a Bible with him that he chucked, all around acting erratic. As he's walking, he runs into a homeless man, Ronald Papo, who was sleeping in the underpass of the causeway, and he proceeded to beat him unconscious, remove his clothing, and eat his face. This is not an over-exaggeration. He ate this man's face from the beard up. When police arrived on the scene, they gave commands to Eugene to stop eating this dude's face. He didn't listen. He just proceeded to growl and continued to eat this man's face. He was unalived at the scene. Trigger warning. There are pictures of Ronald Papo right after his face got eaten online. And there are pictures of how it's healed since then. He did survive. I can't show these pictures because I'll probably get a community guideline violation, but they are fucking intense.
Stalker climbs into woman's apartment while filming TikTok.
Who are you? Who are you? Alexa, off. Who are you? Who are you? Please get out. Please get out. No, please get out. Yes. Who are you? Please get out of my apartment right now. Please get out of my apartment right now. Get out. Get out. Hello? Please come in.
Is this card game warning us of the future? The card game was released in the 1990s, and it seemed to predict world events with startling accuracy. The card game included references to events such as 9/11, natural disasters, and even the pandemic. This card game was called the Illuminati New World Order. Many believe that this card game was created by the Illuminati themselves as a way to communicate their plans to the world. Others believe that it was just a coincidence. But with so many events seemingly predicted by this game, it's hard to ignore the eerie similarities. But whether it's fact or fiction, one thing is for sure. The Illuminati and their alleged plans for a new world order remain shrouded in mystery and intrigue. And so do the question.
The most disturbing things that people have ever done, part 1. Some of you guys might recognize the person in this photo. This is Dr. Klein, and he ran a fertility clinic. For those that don't know, fertility clinics are where people go when they want to have kids, but they're having a very hard time actually getting their eggs fertilized, so they'll go to a fertility clinic and have a doctor do it. What Dr. Klein ended up doing though was discarding DNA from other people and instead using his own to fertilize the eggs. This resulted in him having over 90 kids, but this is just a rough estimate. There might be more out there. This is an extremely disturbing boundary to cross because, I mean, put yourself in these victims' shoes. Imagine that you're expecting to have a kid with your significant other, but instead you end up having this guy's kid. Very messed up. Always be careful with who you trust.
Imagine getting a notification in the middle of the night that someone is at your door and seeing an old woman with a knife. What would you do?
I bet you didn't know about the medieval torture device known as the collar. Looking at it, you think, oh, that couldn't be too bad. It's just really uncomfortable. Let me explain how it works. So they would take the victim and stand them in the middle of an empty room. There would be 4 ropes attached to the collar. All of them were tied tightly to the corners of the room. They would then fasten the collar around the victim's neck. Any slight movement would cause them to start to be impaled by the spikes. They would be fine as long as they could stand perfectly still. Surprisingly, the collar was more oftenly fatal than not. They would secure the prisoner in and walk away. Supposedly, people wouldn't last longer than 3 hours in the collar. You would think someone could stand for a longer period of time than that. But I don't know, I wasn't there. Anyways, whenever fatigue would set in, the prisoner wasn't able to stand up any longer. And when they would finally relax the weight on their legs, they would be impaled in the throat by the collar. That's pretty intense.
Terrifying games you don't want to play, part 24. The Travel Man game. If you play this game correctly, the rewards could be great. But if you're greedy, you just might lose everything. To play this game, you will need to summon the mysterious Travel Man. To do this, you will need a candle or lantern and an empty household. You'll need to wait until night falls, light the candle, and go to your own front door. Next, you'll need to knock on the door 3 times while saying the words, Travel Man, come make me a deal. Finally, you'll need to repeat these steps every night for the next 7 nights. If you follow these instructions carefully, on the 7th night you may be greeted by a well-dressed entity carrying a briefcase. This is the Travel Man. He will immediately open his briefcase and offer you an item of little value, such as an apple or a small sum of money. You can accept this item, ending the game and banishing the Travel Man, or you can decline. If you decline, he will offer you an item that is slightly more valuable, and this process will continue until you accept his deal. However, be warned, with every item you decline, there is a chance he will accuse you of being too greedy and demand something from you instead. Your soul or your life. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
Animal facts you are going to unfollow me for. Meerkats are psychopaths. They're female dominated, and often the leader will force her subordinates to be her wet nurse in exchange for not getting kicked out the mob or straight up unalived. Also, they're more likely to unalive their own kind than any other mammal. There's a type of parasite that attaches itself to the eyeball of the Greenland shark and eats away at its cornea until the shark goes completely blind. The parasite then acts as a fishing lure for the shark, but this is like cutting off someone's legs and then renting them a wheelchair. Because sloth bears live with tigers and leopards, they're naturally aggressive, but since they usually eat insects and fruits, they're not natural predators. Which means sloth bears don't really know how to unalive people, they just inflict as much damage as possible. Which is why victims of the sloth bear often have most of, if not their entire faces torn off. Back in the 80s, the Ganges River had a problem with human corpse pollution. Yes, you heard that right. So they decided to release 25,000 flesh-eating turtles to clean up. It didn't work.
What are you reporting? I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog. Something killed your dog? My dog went flying through the air over the tree. I don't know how it did it.
That was a real 911 call made from Kitsap, Washington in the year 1990, in which a man claimed that someone or something grabbed his dog and threw it over his 9-foot privacy fence, ultimately killing it. and the next time that he would call 911 would be far, far worse. The area known as Kitsap has been known to have all kinds of weird and odd sightings of something out there ever since people have occupied the land. This being is often what we refer to as Sasquatch. Now, in the phone call, he describes that there's something outside crawling around. He brings up the fact that his dog recently passed away and begs the police to send someone out there. All this is to build up to the moment that he actually realizes what he's looking at. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe or don't believe this phone call. That is up to you to decide. Here's the call.
Here, come through the window now, and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better... See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out there.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
You see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right.
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he in your yard?
He's looking big.
I live in the country. Not too many people know about this back here, but I'm telling you, I could have sworn I saw somebody. Oh my goodness. Hey, Zach. I could have sworn. See, Zach, there is a man over there. What? I'm not even playing. You need to go check it out. There is somebody over there.
I'll go check.
Hiding by our tree. Right now, I'm not even. Be careful. I just seen him over there by that tree, Zach. Zach, be careful. I'm not even playing. Zach, he's right there.
You won't believe what he found.
Just woke up and said she thought someone was playing in our back shed. I hope not, because it's almost falling apart. It wouldn't be very safe, but I'm gonna come out here and have a look around and see if any of the neighborhood kids are messing around or anything. Let me get quiet here for a second.
Facts about horror movies that you probably never knew, part 1. In this video, we're going to be talking about The Exorcist, one of the most well-known horror movies ever. There were a ton of injuries on set and a lot of different things that happened that led people to believe that the set was cursed and that the movie filming process was cursed. However, I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't hear about this one. During filming, Linda Blair was hooked up to a mechanical bed that would shake and give the effect that she was possessed. However, something malfunctioned with the bed, and this caused her to violently be shaken, fracturing her spine, which means that the scene that was actually used in the movie of her screaming are real screams of pain. She reportedly said that she has never felt the same after filming this scene, and this is really unfortunate. Follow for the next part.
Daddy, 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 hurry, I saw something scurry.
So we're at Canada's Wonderland on Windseeker, and this shit just got stuck. We have kids crying. I've been up here for 30 minutes. Technical difficulties.
Alright guys, let's talk about the Dear David incident. The Dear David incident is when Adam Ellis tweeted about a ghost haunting him inside of his apartment. He tweeted, "So my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child and he's trying to kill me." He gives very detailed accounts of what he sees during sleep paralysis. He states he sees a child with a dented head and that the child is trying to hurt him. The next day, he dreamed about a little girl and she was explaining who this creature was. She said its name was David. She stated he only appears at midnight and you can ask him 2 questions if you preface it with Dear David, and if you ask him a third, he kills you. Before he got photo proof of David, he drew a sketch of a dented-headed child. Then one day he managed to snag this picture and this picture. Even his 2 cats were gathering by a door where he saw David. They could just tell something was on the other side. In one instance, he went to take a Polaroid of his lit hallway and it was completely dark. A user found this face inside of it though. This man had a plethora of evidence and posted it all on Twitter. Comment for part 2.
Lorelei, come here. Lorelei, who are you playing with? What are you doing? What?
Butterflies have been known to drink blood, and that's honestly not even the worst part. Butterflies will do this weird ass thing called mud puddling, and basically it's when they try to suck the nutrients out of any organic matter. Which is why these necroflies will suck the blood from the bodies of animals that have already tapped out of life. There's a species of butterfly in Spain that is attracted to the smell of a fresh corpse, and they'll pull up to the body just to get a taste. They'll do this mud puddling thing with rotten fruit, literal deuces on the ground. Some will even drink the tears of other animals like sleeping birds or reptiles like turtles. There's even a type of butterfly that'll go out of its way to irritate the eyes of a turtle and caiman to force them to tear up just so they can drink the tears for minerals. And because they don't discriminate, they'll do it to you too. In fact, there are some butterflies that are attracted to human sweat. Also, unrelated fact, most of a butterfly's taste buds are on its feet. So the next time a butterfly lands on your hand and makes you feel special, just know he's using you. Once he gets his taste, he'll just leave you and move on to the next. Because butterflies are just boys with wings.
I don't know if y'all hear that. That mess behind me that I'm leaving. Something is not right with that. Jesus, in Jesus' name. I'm walking up and down through this Rolling Loud concert, praying, clutching my pearls because that sounds like some mess. I can't. Lord God, fix it. That's crazy. I don't even want y'all to hear this. That's how negative and demonic and his soul is.
Found an entrance to Middle Earth.
Hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
In just one statement, the man in this photo right here caused hundreds of deaths. This is Congressman Andrew J. May, and the year is 1943. During World War II, submarines that were fighting in the US Pacific had a very high survival rate, and Andrew J. May thought it would be a great idea to brag about it. So he bragged to the press that the reason that the survival rate was super high was because Japanese depth charges detonated far too high in the water, so the submarines never ended up getting hit. After learning this information, the Japanese fixed their depth charges so that they would hit more submarines. This caused 10 submarines to be lost and over 800 lives as well. The moral of the story is don't leak information that's valuable, especially during wartime, because this can cause a lot of deaths.
Strangest things caught on home security.
4 years ago, a user posted on the subreddit r/relationships about a weird digital camera she found hidden in her husband's belongings. She claims she was fairly new to the US, so she has a lot of time to poke around the house while her paperwork is still going through. Now one day when she was cleaning underneath her sink, she found an old dusty biscuit tin. Now inside of the tin was a very well kept digital camera. Instinctively she opened the camera and started looking through the pictures, and she didn't know what to make of it. What was on the camera were 2 pictures of each of her belongings. For example, she claimed there were 2 pictures of her makeup, 2 pictures of her bags, 2 pictures of her keys, and so on. As you'd expect, people came up with some theories. One theory was about an insurance claim in case anything ever happened to her items. Another theory was that he was making sure that he wouldn't buy her anything she already had for a gift. Some speculated it was to see if she left the house, for example, seeing if they're in the same spot when he got home. Another theory claimed was he was trying to figure out how to use the camera, and that's why there's 2 pictures of everything. But none of these theories explain why it's hidden in a tin under the sink. There were no updates, and the post has since been removed. And this camera will forever be a mystery.
देख लो अभी आसमान खाली हैगा कहीं भी एक भी नहीं है नजर नहीं आ रहा है देख लो हेलो आप ये देखो देखो ये आना चालू हो गए ये आ रहे देख लो देखो देखो ये आना चालू हो गए देख लो भाई देख लो कितने का वो हो गए चारों तरफ कौवे देख लो अक्कू है हमारे कौवा मास्टर हमारे
I really feel like someone or something is watching me, but I'm all alone.
And if it's true, I will surrender.
Supuestamente son vídeos de la dark web. Nivel 5. Hola. Hola. Da más miedo la música. Por favor, ¿qué es esto, tío? Vale, ¿y este vídeo por qué da miedo? Este vídeo, ¿por qué se supone que da miedo? Vale, es una niña que